Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with something a little bit different for my channel. It's a review of a retro gaming arcade handheld. So it's the Miss Pac-Man game by My Arcade. So I ran into these guys while I was out at CES, and they've got a whole bunch of these really cool handheld arcade machines. They've got Bubble Bobble, they've got Galaga, they've got Miss Pac-Man, they've got Dig Dug. So if you grew up in the 80s, you probably remember a lot of these titles, and you probably have seen them pop up over the years on the PlayStation, on the Konami Classics. You've seen them in other little handheld things, play things you can plug into your TV, and even apps on your phone. But I find that these new handhelds that are dedicated to these arcades seem to work out really well. It's nice because it brings back that whole nostalgia effect because, I mean, who doesn't want to sit down and not have to waste any of their quarters, but you can sit there and keep playing Miss Pac-Man over and over and over to see how far you can get. Well, my arcade came out with these cool little handhelds, and I wanted to go ahead and review one, so let's dive in and take a closer look at the Miss Pac-Man handheld game. All right, so here we are up close and personal with the My Arcade Miss Pac-Man handheld gaming console. So it's got Miss Pac-Man on here, and it's got two other games. I never actually heard of these, but it's Sky Kid and Mappy. So you get a total of three games on here. I did play those as well. They're actually kind of fun, but they're ridiculously hard, as are most 80s, 70s, 80s arcades. But you can see some of the original graphics there with Miss Pac-Man and the four ghosts that are continually chasing her around while you're trying to eat all the pellets to complete the level. Now, same thing as the original. You start off, you got the cherry, the strawberry, move on to, I guess, the orange, and then you've got the other levels that go along with it. Ultimately, the last level is the banana. The basic description here is navigate mazes while collecting all the pellets and avoiding the ghosts. Sounds pretty simple. Well, it's typically more simple in explanation than it is in practicality once you start playing the game. And then they have the descriptions of the other two games as well. But it's got a nice, decent sized screen on it. It's 2.75 inches. It's full color backlit display. It takes four AAA batteries, or you can plug in a micro USB cable and you can play it while it's plugged in. It doesn't have a built-in battery, which I kind of wish it did, especially for the $30 plus price tag. But it's ergonomic, compact size, easy. You can put the batteries in on the back. You just pop those little covers off. Two batteries on the left, two batteries on the right, and then it has a brief description of the controls for Sky Kid and for Mappy. Now, the controls in any of these games are not overly difficult. It's the games themselves that are difficult. So this isn't like nowadays where you can play these games on your Xbox and as long as you keep playing, you get plenty of health. You can play long enough, eventually you'll beat them. No, that's not how this works. So not only is it a flashback to the retro arcade hardware, it's also a flashback to the retro arcade difficulty. So if you've never played Miss Pac-Man before, I would anticipate it might take you a little bit before you get some proficiency in eating all the pellets and beating the levels. And the other two games, Sky Kid and Mappy, are even more ridiculously hard than Miss Pac-Man. So have fun with that. But I did, and I think it's really cool that they brought all this together into this one little neat handheld console. So the button layout is simple. You got the A and the B button, the reset, the start. You've got the D-pad on the left, and then here's a close-up look at that 2.75-inch LCD display. Works perfectly good. You've got a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack down on the bottom, so you can plug in your old school headphones or earphones, and you don't have to worry about disturbing anyone. And then you can also adjust the volume. You can turn it on or off, and it has a little lanyard so you can put it around your wrist. So if you get mad at the game and try and throw it at the wall, it won't go anywhere. It'll stay connected to your wrist. So it works out pretty well. And here's some gameplay. I did go through, and you can see the first level of Miss Pac-Man. But as you can see, the gameplay, everything is still intact. It's just like the original. Run around, eat the pellets, try not to get eaten by the ghost. Now the ghost, they kind of range in difficulty. In the beginning, when you eat the larger pellets, the ghosts turn blue, so you can eat them. But then when you eat them, they kind of run back to base and then they come out and they come and try and chase you again. So it's always a balancing act between trying to eat the pellets and trying not to get eaten or destroyed or whatever terminology you want to use by the ghosts. So there's four of them. Of course, they've got the four different colors, and they don't really represent much of anything other than they have their own individual color. They do have names, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. But you can see they do their best to try and corner you and chase you around and keep you from eating all of their pellets. Yeah, I don't really know what the deal is personally. I don't know if this is like some sort of a digital pellet farm and they used their life savings and they built this little maze and put all these pellets in here and thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then Miss Pac-Man came along and terrorized them. But they don't really tell you who the hero is and who the victim is when it comes to Miss Pac-Man. So, but you can only assume since it's called Miss Pac-Man that she's probably the good guy, if that's even such a concept. But either way, you can see here the gameplay, it works nice. I really wanted to demonstrate this with the directional pad and showing off the gameplay so you can see how well it actually works. Now, here's Sky Kid. Now, Sky Kid, you're like this little, I guess you're a kid. If somebody was responsible enough to let you, or irresponsible enough to let you hop on their plane and take to the skies, this is what the game would look like. So you have aerial foes, you've got land foes, and it gets harder and harder as you play the game. The levels are not particularly long, but you can shoot different directions, up, left and diagonally, and then the goal is to pick up this bomb that I grabbed, and you're supposed to destroy the base without getting shot. So you can see there, they've got artillery fire, lots of craziness and mayhem, and somehow there's 3 ladies out there that are just happy to greet you so you can land your little plane. So that's pretty much the extent of the game. It just gets harder and harder. Now, here is Mappy. Now, Mappy is apparently a little police mouse, and I'm going around trying to, I guess, steal back all of these items that were stolen by, I guess, the evil mice. Like I said, I don't really know a whole lot about this game, other than I had to reset it 3 times before I could actually figure out what to do. So you have to use that little trampoline string to bounce up to the different levels, open the doors, and steal back all of these, I guess, high value electronics, or at least things that they place high value on back in the late 70s, early 80s when this game came out. But super difficult. It's kind of like a maze game combined with some strategy that goes along with it. And of course, trying not to get, I guess they kill you if they get you. I don't know. But either way, it's quite difficult. All right, so as you can see, the handheld is totally cool. I've been playing Miss Pac-Man since I was probably barely able to walk. We had the original Atari whenever I was a kid, and I used to have to go connect it to the TV. I mean, I have to get like a butter knife out of the drawer so I could connect the little RF switch to the TV where the antenna jack was at, just so I could play. And this one was one of the very few games that I had, so it was really cool to me that I was able to get my hands on this. Well, the gameplay is good, just like the original, and it's nice, it's compact, it runs forever with the AAA batteries you toss in there, or you can plug it in with a micro USB cable, throw it in your bag, and you've always got it with you. And the thing I like about this the most is it has actual controls on it. So as opposed to playing the app on your phone or playing on some other things, it doesn't replicate the original joystick experience exactly, but I've had it on computer before where I had to use a keyboard. I've had it where I've had to play on some other different things where you're using like an analog stick or whatever, and it just doesn't work out as well. So the D-pad that they put on here works out pretty well. It did take some time to get broken in. I mean, probably the first 15-20 minutes of playing it, the D-pad was kind of rigid, so it wouldn't exactly turn where I always wanted it to. So it was initially a little frustrating, but after I got it broken in, no problems with it whatsoever, and I've been having a blast playing it. So they are a little on the pricey side. They retail for $34.99. So if you really like retro console style gaming, if you really love Miss Pac-Man, it might be something that's worth it for you. They make great gifts. I got the Galaga one recently for my nephew for Christmas, and he totally loved it. Plus, you get the other 2 games on here. You get Mappy and you get Sky Kid. So you can play those 2 games, which are also insanely hard, and I showed you some footage on that as well. So it's kind of like a 3-in-1 thing. The sound is good, the buttons are good, it's made well, the screen is nice, and it's backlit so you can play it in the dark. So pretty much everything you could have asked for as a kid in the year 2020. So that's all I have on the My Arcade Miss Pac-Man handheld. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I'll get back with you. As always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like and the subscribe button, the little notification bell so you get notifications on the latest and greatest. And I'll see you guys next time.